Welcome everyone to the Venus Alchemy Evening Star look at the sacral chakra or second chakra, life force, sexual center of the goddess. I'm Kaylin Castell with Tammy Brunk, and we are so excited to bring this information to you because this is one of our favorite chakras.
Absolutely. So we are now entering the sacral chakra gate. We are at the second gate on our way up and out of the underworld. So we're starting to get our strength back. We're starting to, after we've gone through the root chakra gate, of course, we're gaining stronger foundations. And now in the Inanna story, we're at the second gate. Inanna is at the second gate, reclaiming her ankle bracelets in many of the stories, and that is symbolically reclaiming her healthy ways of valuing herself, her gifts, and the gift of life itself, because this chakra has so much to do with the life force. It has to do with valuing of ourselves. And so we, like Inanna, are at the point in the journey where we're beginning to reclaim our life force. And also, I think one of the things, I don't know if it comes through in here, but our joy is also a big aspect of the sacral chakra.
Absolutely. I just want to say I've been working with valuing a lot, even before we get to this date necessarily, sometimes, but it's been really up for me lately. And I realized that I have to value myself before anyone's going to value me, because I've been looking at how have I been valued in my life. And I'm more valued now, I think, in many ways than I've ever been, but it's because I've been working on my own value. So it's a really important piece at this chakra gate. And this is the located here at, at the, just below the belly button, like 2 finger widths below the belly, the navel. And the Swadhisthana, Sanskrit for meaning the dwelling place of the self. And this is the center that has the most to do, as we've already been talking a little bit about, and we're going to continue to talk about, pleasure, enjoyment, creativity, and sexuality and life force energy. Of course, sexual pleasure, sacred pleasure, all of that is very much connected to the second chakra.
And I just want to pause for a second, go back, because it's so interesting to me. I think this is part of why I love the sacral chakra so much. I've been feeling this more at this stage of my life than ever before, of this idea that it's the dwelling place of the self, that this is where we come home to ourselves. This is the place of our feminine womb. And I think, there's a way that we radiate the self from the solar plexus, this kind of fiery center. But the womb, when we just sense into that feeling of coming home to our feminine essence, this is where it lives. And I think, again, that is part of why this chakra, this month, I always look forward to it, because it's that experience of coming home to yourself, to your innate sweetness and inner creativity and feminine essence. It's just beautiful.
And figuring out how to receive the pleasure of life, the joy of life, the abundance of life, the life force of life.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, because we're claiming the capacity to deeply receive. So the balanced sacral chakra, when we're really, and this is what we're energizing for this month to come for each of us in our own ways, it is that we are expressing ourselves with radiant warmth and sincere friendliness, without neediness or coming on too strong. So it's just this real profound warmth. We're open to passion, intimacy, and healthy sexuality. We're able to attract and manifest. We are really, truly going with the flow of life, and we feel the sweetness of that. We are accepting what is. We're expressing passionate personal expression. We can experience ourselves and be experienced as easygoing and joyful. Again, joy, sweetness are two of the feelings, the experiences that we engage here. We're creative, we're fun. This is our source of creativity. And again, that just feeling of enjoyment of life. And we're also experiencing sexual fulfillment. With or without a partner, we're really deeply connecting into an experience of sexual aliveness, sexual pleasure, and sexual fulfillment.
Indeed, that live life force, ecstatic, blissful, orgasmic energy, whether we're, with a partner or not. I love it. So how do we maintain a balanced second chakra? And there's several things you can do. Of course, we're sharing these with you. These were things about how to balance the chakra. Now we want to keep doing these things to help maintain a more balanced sacral chakra. And of course, there's always more we can do at every single chakra. No matter how balanced and amazing it is, there's always more. It's the great thing about life. There's always the next level. So chanting the sacral chakra mantra of Bam, activating tactile sensual pleasure through taste and smell and touch and sound and beauty. This is a really great time to listen to music, to dance, to be out in nature, to do the things that bring that sense of, really activate all our senses. Plus, of course, wearing orange. I'm wearing orange.
I usually do wear the color, but not today.
Yeah. This is the color of creative expression, of joy, of enthusiasm, of warmth and fun, and I'm having fun wearing my orange today.
Yeah.
The gems and minerals, amber. I just have to show you. This is an amber sphere that is actually Peter's sphere, but I get to use it now because we live together. So anyway, we did my altar at the second chakra we're reclaiming. So if you have any of these gems or minerals, you can work with them over this time that we're at the second chakra gate. Orange calcite, orange kyanite, orange carnelian, citrine, golden topaz, related quartz. These are all stones that work really well with the second chakra. And I'm going to share all of them, but Damiana, because Tammy's going to tell us about that one. So burdock, gardenia, sandalwood, yangling, bay laurel, bergamot, cardamom, clary sage, jasmine, orange patchouli, rosemary. I love rosemary so much. We've had a rosemary bush where we lived before we've moved, and now I want to plant a new one, and I think I'm going to do it in the second chakra gate.
You do that. And you can take baths. Oh my gosh, I don't know if we even mentioned this, but baths with these herbs. You can take sacred baths, and you can make an infusion with rosemary or any of these other, or essential oils, but I actually like to use the herbs themselves. And
yes.
So soothing and nurturing and invigorating for the sacral chakra to do that.
Yes, so now tell us about Damiana.
I love Damiana because it's an aphrodisiac. It's a beautiful flower, and I have to say I use it in different herbal tinctures. But for those of you who do take a little bit of alcohol as medicine, if you're able to do that, there is a Damiana, a beautiful bottle. If you've ever gone to Mexico, it's shaped as a woman. It's a big, beautiful woman's belly. And it's a Damiana liqueur. And I will sometimes use that in ceremony and just drink the slightest amount. Or you can buy it, or you can make it yourself. You can put it in brandy. And just take the smallest amount as something that I use to just invoke my inner goddess. And I'll sometimes offer it to the earth. But Damiana, to me, just embodies that essence of the sweetness and the kind of eros of the sacral chakra. So for me, it's a plant I love.
Yes, beautiful. So, and you can also look up and see if there's any other additional herbs and essential oils that you might use if none of these sing to you. But anyway, this is just get you started on that. There's some other practices that you can do, and of course, at the sacral chakra, you want to do sensual care of your body. And you might even want to get massage or do some self-massage, and activating different parts of your body. Of course, eating healthy organic food is going to be helpful and nourishing and nurturing to your body and your sacral chakra. Exercise, movement, whatever ways works for you. Pranayama, tantric practices, hip opening, yoga, or stretches. And it's so important. So many people are really locked up in their hips, and that actually, it means then that you're going to be locked up in your second chakra, your root and your second chakra probably. So it's really helpful to do that if you have some issues there. And then of course Kundalini yoga, belly dance. We've already mentioned spending time in nature. And then just tuning in to notice how your body feels and really ask your body what it wants you to do to nourish it. Because, there may be something and it might not even make sense. It's like you get a message and it's like, oh, that doesn't make sense. But then you do it and something amazing and magical happens as a result. So really paying attention.
Absolutely. And I just want to just pause it for a moment to just say, I know for myself, I've been beginning to really practice muscle testing, kinesiology, those kinds of things, tapping, with the commitment to myself that I become more fluent with the language of my body. And so that really I'm guided, and I will not say yes to things unless my body agrees, that becomes more and more and more embodied. And it actually, I've already in many, many situations found that this can be a very challenging thing. It actually requires me to love myself deeply, profoundly. And sometimes I can't even explain fully to other people why I make the choice I'm making. But what that means is I love my body enough, and I listen to my physical body as this brilliant truth teller. And again, I think that has to do with tuning into the sacral chakra. But I wanted to just share a couple things that I've been experiencing in terms of the sensual dimension that I think that I've found to be really fun. And one is that you can pretty much add any kind of an essential oil to coconut oil if you like coconut oil. So a fun practice is actually to go to a store near you, a natural food store or something, and just try out different scents. Just really use your senses to see what scents really call to you, and buy an essential oil, add it to coconut oil or even add it to olive oil, and then just use that on your skin, and just in a way that really kind of that feels really fun and sensual, and just begin to play with those scents and moisturizers in that way. The other thing is actually I've come to love olive oil as a moisturizer. I've started to put it in my baths with Epsom salts, even though you have to definitely scrub your bathtub. And also I've started to use it on my face. When instead of washing my face with soap, I'll use olive oil and then a really hot washcloth and wash my face with that. And I'm coming to just love very, very simple ways of moisturizing and cleansing using the most basic oils and natural products like that. Anyway.
Yes, I totally concur with you on that. I've been doing some of that myself, and I also just want to come back and say too, one of the challenges that I've had, and I know Tammy, you and I've been on this path somewhat together, is around food, and I have been really listening to my body. Like if I eat certain things, I'm in distress. I'm like, okay, my body did not like that.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I've gotten to the place where I'm not willing to not feel good. So I won't eat the foods that make me not feel good.
That's awesome. That's empowering.
Yeah.
That is huge. Well, and what I want to share about food for myself that is, I think, supportive to what you're saying, Kaylin, is that part of what I love about the Evening Star journey and what I love about the sacral chakra is that to me it feels like this isn't necessarily the focus isn't on destruction and letting go and that dimension as much as it is claiming and focusing on what you want.
Nurturing.
Yes. Right. And so for me, I've found that oftentimes it's helpful to focus less on, I'm not going to eat that, I'm not going to eat that, and more on what do I really love and savor and enjoy, and get as much of that as I possibly can. Fill myself up with sweetness that is really nurturing and healthy. Like I'll make a stew that has every different kind of vegetable in it, and bone broth and wild rice. And it's so good. And it's every different kind of root, and I'll just load it up, and it's just all the good things, and it makes me so happy. It makes my body so vibrant. So I'm focusing in on just really giving my body this luxurious, abundant kind of overkill almost. And then also, instead of focusing on, there are some things I need to shift and change in my life. This is where I've been recently, is I've had to let go of some things that are really hard to let go of, even though we're in this evening star journey. So in order to get strong enough to do that, what I did was I filled myself up with the sweetness of self-Reiki, of lots of body work, lots of loving care from friends, and that helped me get strong enough to let fall away what no longer served me. So that building up and filling up with sweetness, so everything that doesn't work for me just falls away. I think that's a simple.
I love that you're saying that, because it's so true. When we focus on, so what's really good and nourishing and nurturing that we can do food wise and everything else wise. And then when we're doing that, if there's things where we have let go of, especially say in the journey to the underworld, in the underworld, things we had to let go of, we don't miss it as much because we're filling up with all the things that are healthy and nurturing and helping us to feel more vital and alive. So amazing how powerful that can be.
Yes, definitely. Because again, we're really nurturing ourselves, because we've done a lot of work in the underworld. We've done a lot of work clearing, letting go in the Morning Star journey, and we're honoring that. And we're so proud of ourselves. And now we're retrieving, reclaiming what helps us feel whole, nurtured, pleasure-filled, joyful, all that.
Yeah, because we want to maintain that, have a healthy, balanced second chakra. We want to claim that as ours to live and experience and express, because there's so many cool things connected to this particular chakra.
Absolutely. So,
meanwhile,
but we do acknowledge that even on the way up in the evening star journey, as Inanna is accompanied by demons, each of us also, we might feel some of the vibrational, a little bit of that, whatever it is that we've been working with at each of these chakras that's not quite ready to let loose, or maybe it's actually some of the stuff that showed up on the way down that we're beginning to claim the gifts in these things, these areas we struggle with. So as I name these demons, just consider, feel in your body, are these some energies that you're still doing a dance with? And if so, maybe also just take a moment, just like, okay, which ones light up for you? Which ones do you feel in your body? Which ones are a yes? And which is yours? But also, as you do that, to also take a moment now, like stop the video or later, to ask, if this is something that is really alive and active in my system, in what ways could it be transformed, or in what ways could I work with it as an ally? In what ways could it be my daemon, my guiding daemon, my genius, my inner brilliance, wisdom gift? So, victim demon, loneliness demon, inadequate demon, dissociative demon, stressed out demon, overly critical demon, needy and clingy demon, under eating demon, lower no self-worth demon, frigid or disconnected demon, misuse of sexual energy demon, ineffective ability to manifest and attract demon. Okay, so or name yours.
Because there may be something that we didn't think of here, but this was just to get you going with your own sense and to tune in, like, where are you not taking care of yourself? Where do you need to nurture yourself more? And what's that? Maybe there's the also not enough sleep demon.
Yeah, right. Which might be connected to the stressed out demon.
Right.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So, there's lots of different ways you can tune into this, and ideally come up with the ones that are yours that you can work with and maybe journal about and ask them, as Tammy was saying, ask these demons what they're here for and how do we transform them so that they become allies and guides rather than the thing that's keeping us from what we really want to experience.
Absolutely.
So what we talked about this on the way down is this Madonna horror split that has been very prevalent in our culture. We're starting to see it shift and change some, but it's still there. And we're seeing some of the shadow of it coming up in different places in, at this particular time where we're recording this. We could hope that maybe in the future when people are listening to this, that's not the trend.
Right. There's no problem there.
Right? So we could think about, the Madonna and how there's this energy of she has a child, she gives birth to the Son of God or whatever that's about, but it's through immaculate conception. She has no sex. This is part of the story. It's a made-up story, by the way. It's not actually true that that's what happened, but that's the story that we've been given. And she is seen in the clouds, beaming down the light. She's spiritual. She's higher upper chakras, that's who she is. And then Magdalene is dressed in red. She's considered a whore. She has sex, or, she's considered to have sex. I'm sure she did. She was ultimately actually married to Jesus in some of the understandings that have been coming to light in more recent times. So, and had, they had children and so on and so forth. So the stories that we've been told are not necessarily true. But what's interesting is that she's connected to the lower chakras, and particularly, about sexuality. And that red became this color of the whore. Interestingly, though, cardinals wear red. So that was not the original expression. Wearing red meant that you were, I think Magdalene was a priestess, and that was, the Magdalene priestesses were the ones that they wore red. That was part of their thing, and the cardinals adopted that. So,
and it was, of course, they were probably most likely, and she most likely was a priestess, a sacred sexual priestess who carried on that tradition and that lineage.
Right.
But it became distorted in the way that the church would speak of that.
So our opportunity, we want to have all the chakras activated and alive. That sexuality and spirituality, actually sexuality can be one of our greatest spiritual experiences. And there's a splitting off, like if you're sexual, you can't be spiritual. If you're spiritual, you're not sexual. And so what we want to transform at the second chakra is how do we bring these two things back together so that we can have the gift of sexuality as a highly spiritual experience. So how do we do that? Well, we're about to do an invocation to help with that.
Okay, so this is the invocation to Mary, healing the Madonna whore split. I am Mary, whose light of passion and holy fire fuels the universe with my great love, impassioned feeling, and spiritual truth. No longer do I live from the wound of separation that splits my awareness between my spiritual purity and my sexual power. My body, my pleasure, my erotic truth is first and foremost mine to experience, then offer with a full-hearted yes to the beloved of my choosing. As I claim my human and divine nature, I restore the sacred balance, the truth of my being, from within and then without. So it is.
Yes. I got a rush of energy as you were doing. So I feel like it's already started. Woohoo!
Absolutely. It's in the works.
So interesting, we talked a moment ago when we first started this, that there's the second chakra is connected to sex and money. Money being a symbol of life force energy. And interestingly, this is something that many people don't realize, is that the word money comes from the goddess Juno Moneta. Moneta is the root of money. And so if we think about it, money actually comes from the feminine, from the goddess. And that's been clearly distorted in our patriarchal culture that we've been living in more recently, and hopefully that's about to change, or is starting to change. But anyway, it has been changing slowly. And so Juno Moneta, she was a goddess of Rome, She had to do with marriage and childbirth and money. There was a temple that was built to her at the center of Rome, and that's where they first minted money. And you can see one of the coins here is her image, Moneta, written right on this coin, which is kind of cool. So this secret life of money, how money can be soul for the food, food for the soul. This little quote that comes from this book that was written in 1996 even, so that's kind of cool. It's basically, what are the origins of the word money? If we search in this direction, we need a goddess. She lives in the world of archetypes, the larger patterns that shape us and await our discovery. The word money derives from the Roman goddess named Juno Moneta, or Moneta. So there's there's where that comes from, and it's an opportunity for us to, create a new relationship, a new aliveness around how we connect to money.
Which brings us to part of, again, what we want to energize at the sacral chakra is abundance consciousness. So we talked about scarcity consciousness on the way down, and here as we're coming up, we want to really bring into our awareness and into our lives abundance consciousness, which forges a new energy economy based on renewable, unlimited resources to serve all beings in the earth. It says there's plenty for all, because when we're coming from a place of abundance, we're not actually, ironically, paradoxically, many of the ways that we exploit the earth, we exploit resources, we create a culture that is exploitative of each human being and of all of our more than human relations, that is actually based in a scarcity consciousness that says you've got to take more, you need more because there's not enough. So instead we say there's plenty for all, and it asks us, how can I develop my gifts so I can share them and bless the world? So we're already coming from a place of, I have plenty, I have so much, how can I overflow, how can I give? What form of generosity, of generous giving will bring me the greatest joy and fulfillment? How can my life, my actions, my feelings, my thoughts contribute to the well-being of all life on this planet? And abundance consciousness accurately assesses the challenges and limitations that many of us face, and it asks, how can this challenge or limitation be approached as a gift in disguise? So how can we actually, and that's also kind of like looking at and working with the demons. Anything that does come up as a challenge, because of course life does include that, even in the evening star ascent. How can we see that as as something that can be a gift and a boon for us?
Beautiful. Yeah, these are such great questions, and hopefully you'll feel inspired to work with them as we go through this gate and look at it is about really, abundance isn't just money, although money is kind of needed in this world as it's set up at this particular time. Who knows if we're ever going to see something different around that. But it's, do you have an abundance of love, an abundance of joy, an abundance of fun, other ways that we might have abundance in our life too. So definitely. So did you want to do this list or what?
Sure. Okay. So some of the different ways that we can explore, amplify abundance consciousness are to express gratitude every day, and Kaylin's going to talk more about that. Be complimentary. Forgive self and others. That's a very abundant state of being when we're large enough to do that. Have a healthy relationship with failure as a step to experience success. So again, finding the gift in the challenge. Reading every day, talking about ideas. Again, and I think also in the world we live in now, it can sometimes feel overwhelming, but so many online courses, so much wisdom, insight, knowledge available to us all around. That is tremendous abundance. And that joyously celebrating accomplishment, we can embrace change. It's fun, right?
We need to definitely take that. We'll probably talk about that more at the next chakra gate, but celebration, taking time to celebrate something every day can be life-changing.
Yes, and we definitely will talk about that next time too, but I think that's kind of a fun exercise. You know, I know, Kaylin, you and Peter have a gratitude practice when you go for walks. I do that with my sister. Also, bragging. That's the other thing I do when I walk with my sister. My friends will also brag about what we've done, what our accomplishments are. So that's also creating that sense of abundance and self-valuing. Embracing change, seeing change as something positive that's going to actually bring more good into our lives. Delighted, like experiencing delight when other people succeed. And, you know, I think going along with that, I know that it's a very human thing that sometimes if we are feeling challenged ourselves, when we can look around, especially in this time of social media, and just like there's just so much we can look around and say, oh my gosh, they're doing this and they're doing that and whatever. We can compare ourselves, but if we can pause actually when we see someone who's doing something and we have that little twinge of, I should be doing that, or I'm not good enough, whatever that is, if we can take a moment and say, okay, anybody who's out there succeeding, anybody who's out there shining their bright light, doing something that maybe triggers me in that way, is actually creating more opportunity for me to do that. And also the way that supports you when you can look at it that in that way is that when you are taking those moments to step into your greatness, when you're more visible, when you're succeeding, then you also are going to know that you doing that is opening more doorways for others. So it's really letting go of that feeling of, you know, if this person's in the spotlight, then I don't get to be. Or if they're doing their work in a successful way, then that takes from me. So really healing that idea.
And I think another way, the spotlight together.
Yes, exactly. Right.
So everybody gets to show up and shine.
Yes. Right? And really energize that is what we're here for. And I think along with that, for whatever reason this is coming up for me, I think it can be a really powerful practice when we unconsciously are putting someone below us or above us, because again, this is self-valuing that we're looking at, to say everyone is equal to me. You are equal to me. I am equal to you. You are equal to me. Every single being. We are all equal to each other. And so that we value ourselves and we value others. And then also crediting others for their work, ideas, and successes. You know, just think about how important that is for each one of us when we are given credit. So really getting that habit in practice. And that's, again, generating an abundance consciousness. Having a to-be and to-do list. So we also are acknowledging and honoring the ways of being, our qualities of being. And again, I think that's the sweetness, the feminine essence, and our sacral chakra is just that experience. And I just want to say that where I've been feeling that being state is that I have, for various reasons, already begun focusing on my sacral chakra. And I've started doing this practice where I will take about 20 minutes to listen to beautiful music. I lay down, I give myself Reiki, which basically self-Reiki activates each one of your chakras. But I also put my favorite crystals on each of my chakras. And then I also have feathers. I have like an eagle feather that I put above my head. I have owl that I put on my third eye. I have a red-tailed hawk and my sacral. I have a vulture actually at my solar plexus because of a vision that I had. And then I just take those 20 minutes to give myself Reiki, to like soak up that love from the crystals. And it's so soothing and it's so energizing. And it puts me into that being state. So anyway, and having a vision for your life is also very abundance creating, and valuing the abundance of love, joy, fun, play, and fulfillment. I love that one, Kaylin.
Yay! Woohoo! So part of what we've been doing, and we introduced this idea in on the way down into the underworld, and we really want to play with this some more on the way up, is that this idea of dreaming into a new sacred economy, and with the idea that the earth is abundant. It is not lacking in abundance at all. There's a lot of resources when they're used wisely that can really support everybody having the experience of all their needs being met. You know, that, one of the things I've been thinking about quite a lot lately is how do we restore the common good? You know, that we have gotten to this place where it's like people just only in it for themselves. And so how do we do that? How do we create
a form of poverty?
Yeah, a new sacred economy that really values and supports all human beings and all life, not just human beings. Anyway, so it's about having a vision for this socioeconomic system where everyone is supported with a high standard of living, and it might be that we don't really actually need money. I love the Star Trek series because they have evolved beyond money, except the Ferengi, but
right.
Anyway. But nobody, they don't use money really, unless they have to go to a culture where there's money, but that's not the main culture. So I think that's a vision for us to think about. Like, could we live in a culture that all our needs are met and we don't necessarily have to deal with money? And so, where the resources are shared, that everybody's being supported, that there's a valuable contribution, that's recognized whenever we're given a chance to create a unifying effect based in the understanding we are stronger when we collaborate. Yes, we are really stronger, and we can accomplish so much more. Peter's favorite saying is, 2 people can carry a long way what 1 person cannot lift. So when we work together, there's a lot more we can accomplish than we're trying to do it ourselves. Yeah.
Yes. And this is a little bit more on that. Of course, we have a whole list of other authors and resources around all of this, including Lynn Twist and others, but Charles Eisenstein is a really wonderful place to start if you want to explore what sacred economics, again, bringing back the sacred dimension into how we would create a new kind of economy, and to understand that money is a social convention, it's an agreement, it's not a natural resource, it doesn't represent one, it's not necessary for survival unless we've been conditioned to accept it, which we have. So really, there is this question of, while money is how we are operating now, how can we energize it in a positive way? But how can we also extend our vision into even greater abundance of really asking ourselves? I think part of this is, what would I do with my life if money was not a consideration? That's part of shifting into this new paradigm, is how would I operate in my life if I wasn't concerned about money? What would I do with my time, with my energy, with my resources? And begin to work as much as possible from that place, knowing, we are where we are, and we need to honor and acknowledge that for each of us individually, and not carry blame or shame around where we are at, but to maybe begin to ask that question and energize it. And then also to support the idea of working towards eliminating debt, and then as a culture to eliminate the concept of debt, which is a twisted idea anyway.
It is.
And so in doing that, to eliminate the fear of not having enough, which generates so much. You think about young students who are so gifted, talented, brilliant, they get out of college, they have tremendous debt, and then their energy and their focus is being diverted from what it should be focused on, which is giving their gifts, which is sharing their brilliance, which is contributing who they are in the world and shining their light. And instead, they're getting caught up in having to pay back student debt. So to really, let's just energize also for our young generations, the next ones coming in, that they get to step into a culture of greater abundance. They're creating that. They're helping create that. But let's support them in that. To eliminate that mental and physical stress and anxiety that people are experiencing, what can we do to help create this kind of economy in our daily lives, and to support others in shifting into that awareness?
I love this idea of dreaming into a sacred economy and doing it together.
Yes.
Such powerful, we got to start somewhere. So let's start dreaming into it. Because it's definitely.
And when we dream into it, like we talked about at the root chakra, get really specific, really feel it, sense it, and begin to look at where it's already arising around you and grow and build that.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, oh, I love that. And I claim my full value and worth. My true value and worth is based on my existence. how much joy I experience every day, how much love I feel and express, and how much light I naturally shine. So this is like something you could even say to every day if you wanted to,
Yes.
right? That at the second chakra, of course, you know, we want to really claim our full value and worth, and to do this in a great way, to journal about it. That's such a cool thing to do, and to make that declaration.
And the reason we even include this declaration is just because we want to, again, energize understanding, comprehending our value, the abundance, you know, all of this beyond money, beyond those kinds of social constructs, to what that experience is. How does it feel to actually live in our bodies with this experience of self-valuing?
Yes. So then the next thing we're going to just talk about is the gratitude ceremony. This is something that I've been doing for a long time, and I love it. And so this is some suggestions about how you might do it. There's many ways to do it. I actually first heard about this probably in the, I don't know, late 90s or something, when Sarah Van Brethnock, she wrote a book called Simple Abundance, and she was on Oprah Winfrey Show, and she was talking about how if you just do a gratitude ceremony every day for a month or 2 months, it will absolutely change your life. And she recommended just listing 5 things that you were grateful for every day. Well, I just took that idea and added to it to make a list, a gratitude list. And when Peter and I got together, we made a list of about 100 things that we were grateful for. And some of them were things that hadn't happened yet. We were making we were doing advanced gratitude. So, you know, what the reason that gratitude is so powerful is it does raise our vibration. And when we're in that place of gratitude, really feeling it, not just sort of saying it, like, oh, I'm grateful for this, and not really feeling it, that you know, but it really raises our vibration and increases our self-worth. So it's really great to practice daily, especially while we're at this chakra gate. And so what I have found too is that it's helpful to write it, because if you have it written down and you're having a bad day, then you don't have to try to think of what you're grateful for. You just read it. Just read it out loud. Say it out loud. And do that. And I will just say, Peter and I said our gratitude ceremony for months. We did it for many months. And one day he was just really cranky and he didn't want to do it. And so we were starting out, we would say, we were deeply and profoundly grateful for our lives together. And then I added, even when we feel like shit. He started laughing so hard. By the time we were done, he felt so much better. So, you know, do it in a way that works for you. It doesn't have to be totally this way, but yeah. So advanced gratitude, state what you want, don't state what you don't want. Like, I don't want this in my life. I don't want, you know, to be unhappy or whatever. State what you do want. I am so grateful. I am happy. Even if you're not happy, state it. You know, to start giving gratitude for it, because it will start to show up in your life. It's just amazing how this works. I am grateful for radiant health is better than I'm grateful for being disease-free. You know, these are the kinds of things you want to make sure they're positive statements, because that's what you're energizing, and your subconscious doesn't hear, you know, it's like, oh, disease? And it hears disease, it'll give you disease. So you don't want that. You want it to give you radiant health. And if you have others that are willing to do this with you, then, you know, it's a cool thing to do with them. And this is just this is just some examples of how you can start your gratitude ceremony. So I, Kaylin K. Castell, am deeply and profoundly grateful for all the abundance I experience, including love, joy, fun, financial ease, with more joyous, fulfilling experiences every day. For my healthy, happy body that supports me in all I am and all I am here to do. For my endless ability to restore, regenerate, and renew each day and every day. For our perfect clarity, focus, and communal cohesiveness with our Venus Alchemy community, fulfilling our collective vision with love and grace. I love that.
I love that.
For angelic protection, for money flowing freely and continuously into my life, my bank accounts, my investments. I am grateful to joyously share my abundant wealth in ways that are inspiring for me and my ever renewing financial flow prosperously growing with ease and joy. So those are just some examples. You can use them, you can modify them, you can make them work for you, you can use something completely different. So you might want to pause this recording and just tune in and see which of these light up for you. If you want to copy any of them and work with them, you're totally welcome to do that. And then you can also, this last statement, I am deeply grateful to know I am a divine expression in the vast sea of wisdom that lives within and around me. I am grateful I now experience complete ease and peace as I attract love into every aspect of my life. So, yay for
I love that. That's so beautiful, Kaylin. And I do a gratitude journal every day. The way I talk about it is what's perfect in my life. For whatever reason, that activates different things for me. But I really love this ceremony so much. And it makes me want to do something very similar because I've never done it exactly like this, but this is really powerful.
Cool. Well, let me know how it goes.
I will. So the questions, of course, again, as always, we have some questions that we share, and you might just want to choose one, or you might want to choose all 3 or 2 to work with over the course of the month in your Venus journal. So the first is, what would it take for me to claim my value so deeply I experience growing prosperity and financial abundance daily? So to really feel into that and explore that. And then what would it take for me to claim and experience profound pleasure and deep intimacy in my everyday life and in my relationships? And we're going to assume, again, we're in the evening star phase, so you've got this showing up, and so to, again, like really strengthen that. What would it take for me to claim and express joyful, playful, pleasure-filled, expansive creativity? So if any of these land for you, so maybe just explore how this is showing up in your life and also explore how you can grow that more.
And if the questions sort of work, but maybe you will need to modify them for you, please feel free to do that. We're just trying to get you activated and energized into starting to look at these things more deeply. So
yeah,
that's
just jump starting. So, and then now we're to home play. Of course, we always recommend, if this resonates for you, deeper practices. So this is one I really love. It's a body love and gratitude practice. And so that every morning, or you might end up doing this over your lunch break, or, there's different ways that people do this, but the way I like to do it is every morning before I get out of bed, I'll spend a couple of minutes just showering my body with blessings of love and gratitude. I begin with my feet. And actually, I've started moving with my head, but sometimes I'll start with my feet and move up to the top of my head. So just see what feels more natural for you. Beginning with the feet is more like the evening star journey, right? So we're starting with the lower chakras and up.
Nice.
But in any case, you'll want to move through your entire body and envision all the good things each body part does for you every day. Be as specific as possible in your thanks and praise. And I'll say it aloud sometimes. It's really nice to actually speak it. Your body likes that. And just to speak to it as you would someone you love. You just, when you speak to even a child sometimes. Sometimes I'll speak to my body as if it's a beloved child. And that my body really responds to. And then you just see each part as you go up. See each part of your body, your feet, your calves, your legs, all the way up or down. Just see them filled with the blessing of love, light, healing, and joy. So you might have a particular color. You might have just pure white light, but it can help to visualize as well. Sometimes I'll use green. Light green is like a very healing color, and I'll see that move up my body as I bless it. So just to take time with your body and bless it every day can be such a sweet way to begin your day.
Yes, and I can even imagine doing this in the shower. So
yeah.
Right? Like, what else are you doing in the shower? Well, you can just be talking to yourself. And I do agree with you. Saying it out loud is so important because then we're vibrating it in our throat chakra as well. And we're hearing it. And so there's so much more that goes on when we say it out loud.
It is very powerful. And when you speak it with love and affection, speak to your body with love and affection, it changes something.
It does. Beautiful.
So there's also this amplifying abundance practice, which is just building on what we've been talking about. So this may work for you to look at your life through the lens of the 4 elements. So fire, so maybe look at, what's happening in your life in the area of your spirituality, of your creativity, and just, or in the area of water, so your feelings, your emotional abundance, your relational, the relational realm, and the earth, body, material, air, mental, informational. So in your Venus journal, to explore where you feel abundance in these areas and really be specific about that. So for me, for example, I might say in the area of fire, spirituality, I'm just really seeing all of the abundance in my life right now in terms of the spiritual practices that I've known about for so long that I'm actually deepening into and bringing into my life on a daily basis. And
I concur.
Yeah, it's like,
me too. Right?
totally. It's this richness, because this is all about what we bring home to ourselves. This seems to be a theme right now. And, how do we enrich our lives with this? Creativity. I've just started learning to play guitar, like with lessons, which I always knew how, but I'm really learning, and it's really feeling abundant, just like this new adventure. Feelings. I actually am feeling so grateful for my growing ability to be with whatever feelings come up and allow them. They don't always feel good, but I'm very grateful for the growing wisdom and insight that I don't need to stuff this stuff. I can work with it as it comes up, and it frees up energy. And relational, I'm so deeply, profoundly grateful for the little ones in my life right now and for the light that they bring. And so forth. Body, I can just, I love my new front teeth, because I just had my front teeth worked on, and it's really exciting. It's like a gift from my dentist. And material, I'm really grateful that just money comes in as I need it. It's just whatever I need, it comes. And then air, mental, informational. I'm so grateful for these new online classes that I'm taking that are just really waking me up. Okay, so you see how that goes. And then as I do that, and as I explore that and write about it, then I take a moment when I'm done. It's like, just like feel it in my body, the sensation of abundance, the joy, expansiveness it brings. And then I might just move with that feeling. I might give a prayer that really encapsulates it all, kind of like what Kaylin did. And so, you may choose to do that. You might choose to do the gratitude ceremony, and or some combination of the above practices.
Beautiful. I love this. This is so great. And to look at it from the perspective of the 4 elements, because ultimately we're co-creating with these elements all the time. So if we're paying attention and being grateful for them and noticing where they're showing up in our life, that just means they show up even more. And that's so awesome.
It's so primal. There's a reason so many people in earth-based cultures call in the 4 directions or the 6 directions.
Right.
Because those are the energies that we can co-create with. Exactly.
Yeah. So we have some additional resources listed here. These are books. I think all of them are books. Sacred Economics was the book that we quoted from earlier. The Soul of Money by Lynn Twist is a brilliant book, really good. The Energy of Money. There's Maria Nemeth. I tuned into her work some years ago, and it really helped me to shift. And I had energy leaks in my financial experiences around that time. And part of it was because of the partner I was married to, who was gambling. And I was like, where's all that money going? Anyway, but it helped me to start to recognize where I was out of integrity and where I needed to, have the energy of money work within myself. It's really brilliant work that she does. And you can talk about this one, Tammy.
Yeah, well, there's a number of books I really love. Awakening Shakti also, but also Womb Wisdom, Awakening the Creative and Forgotten Powers of the Feminine by Padma Owen Prakasha. I love anything by him, and he really does. He's male, but he speaks to the feminine. He speaks to womb wisdom in really beautiful ways, so I highly recommend his work. And
then Unplugging the Patriarchy, A Mystical Journey into the Heart of a New Age by Lucia Renee, she's amazing in this journey that she really looked deeply into some of the underlying kind of somewhat creepy energetics that have been that certain elite people, maybe you could say, have been operating from, and how she worked with that to help transform that, unplugging the patriarchy, and how we maybe even plugged ourselves into that, not necessarily consciously or intentionally, but by conditioning and how we've been raised and how we can become more aware of that so we can disconnect from that. And that's all around the financial piece as well. So pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yes.
So
this has been so much fun as always.
It always is so much fun. So we hope you have a fabulous journey with the second chakra, and we'll look forward to connecting with you again.
Absolutely. Have a beautiful, beautiful month.